My dear friend, today we are going to talk about technology by a person who is non-technical. My name is Shah. I am a motivational speaker and startup enthusiast. Everybody is required to learn technology in this decade. Do you disagree with the statement? And I have done this survey online and offline. I got overwhelming response, and more than 80% of the people responded that yes, we need to know technology in this era, irrespective of what is our background. Now, as you have not studied, your formal education is not technical. After 5 years or 10 years of professional experience in the functional space, today how can you change your space and how can you learn technology? It is difficult. Now today we'll try to understand, because I am not non-technical person. When I tried to learn technology, it was not easy. The biggest problem for me was where to start, what to learn, what is useful for me. I can't learn everything available under the universe, all the technology. I really get scared of even hearing the names of so complex names of technology. Name itself scary. Even Python, oh my god, Python, how can I learn Python? It is scary. But somewhere you will have to. You don't have choice, you will have to start. Now the biggest question is where to start. Should you start with HTML, CSS, C++, Java, Ruby, Django, Python, R, MATLAB? What? From where? One question you have to answer, that what would you like to do with the technology, whatever you would learn? Do you want to automate something? Do you want to be a website developer? Do you want to be a mobile developer? Do you want to be a gaming developer? Or maybe iOS developer, Android developer? These are the basic questions you have to answer, because yes, something you want to do, right? So you want technology, you want to do something, you have something in your mind while you are professionally engaged in any problem. So when you get some problem to solve, remember that there are multiple solutions to one problem. Now, can you think technical solution of that problem? It is important that you think of technical solution. The reason being, somebody within your group is thinking extraordinarily different solution of every problem. So that is the one reason why it is important for you to learn technology. Now, as I told you, there are various names of the technology: programming language, front end, back end, mobile development. Where to start? So if I tell you the traditional method of learning, so I'll not go too I may not go 30 or 40 years back, at least 20 years back. It was universal that whomsoever started learning technology, they started with C, C++, Java. This is how they started their learning. If you are a non-technical background and if you want to start one language to start with, what should be that language? I know many of you must have guessed, because this is a buzz in the market. It is Python. Yes, you should start with Python. Let's have a quick look why you should start with Python. Now, Python has the upper hand when it comes to supporting a number of programming paradigm like OOPS, functional programming, empirical programming, and structured programming. Python can be used to develop both large and small applications. This is scary. OOPS, functional, empirical, structured. So this is scary. This is not the reason why I asked you that you start with Python. Python is simple to start. So literally I tell you, if you write hello world, it is going to print hello world for you. So this is the reason. It is simplistic, it is easy to learn, and your learning curve is not going to be too steep. Now one question is unanswered, which I started with. Now, what is the purpose of you doing any programming language? If see, there can be, you may want to be a data scientist, you want to be a web developer, or you want to develop mobile applications. If you want to be a data scientist, Python is the one which you should certainly pursue at an advanced level of understanding. Now Python got such a wonderful packages for data science. Simply by writing few lines of code, you can do wonders. For example, you want to be a data scientist and you want to do natural language processing. They have NLTK library, which is going to do most of the job for you. You just have to utilize your use cases and your learning to amend or modify as per your requirement. So it is important that you start with Python. Now some of you want to be a website developer. Now many people are still confused. While I was talking to my friend circle and one small survey while I did on LinkedIn, they were not sure that Python is the website development language. They thought it is mostly on the data science. There are various Python framework which helps you to do web development, and there are many, but let me talk about two and let me freeze on one what you should start. So there's a Flask and Django. I would suggest you starting with Django. This framework can help you develop even large application, whether you want to do some static work or maybe dynamic. It is going to help you very, very well. Now, while you have learned, so why I did not take you to the direction of learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and directly I asked you to jump to Python. Python is something which is the core of everything. So HTML, CSS is going to build front end for you, but unless there is a strong back-end understanding, you can't do much. Everything is going to be static, which HTML, CSS largely this is static, and you may not enjoy looking everything static. And when you learn Python, when you couple this with the Django understanding, you can develop dynamic websites. There is an argument, and there are so many people argue that why Python, not JavaScript. If you look at JavaScript is utilized for the front end and back end as well, then why do I need to learn Python and then Django framework, and then still I have to utilize some amount of HTML, CSS, or maybe the Django templating language, and that is also a combination of HTML and CSS. You have no escape with JavaScript. At some point in time, you will certainly have to learn JavaScript. You have no choice. You can't escape. But to start with, you can skip. But at some point in time, when you move further in your programming language learning, you have to learn JavaScript because it does a lot for you, and literally lot. That's why I have repeated 3 times. Now coming back to why Python, not JavaScript. While doing data science, it is inevitable that Python can do better job for you, and you can get better output, and you can really play very well with the data, and more meaningful insights you can drive. Now comes, if I have to learn Python, from where to start, how to start. I would suggest it is important that you should have some use cases, that while I am doing Python, while I am learning Python, with this I should be able to develop this. That will keep you engaged. Otherwise, you will leave this entire learning in the middle. And this is going to happen, trust me. And this has happened with me multiple times. I have started, learned for a few days, few months, and again move to something else. The reason being, I did not have use case that what I am going to do. I learned Python, I wanted to do data science. I learned Django because I wanted website development. But what actually I want to do, I never had that project in my hand. And you can think of multiple projects in your life. What would you like to do in data science or website development? So right now, while learning Python, I got some project in my hand, weekend project, which I spent Saturday and Sunday working on those projects. And then I got, while I was learning Django, I got one project where I developed REST framework. Don't get confused with what is REST framework. Keep yourself calm with two things right now, Python and Django. What is REST framework? We'll discuss some other time. But for the non-programmer, there's only two things right now. Number one is Python. Number two is Django, which will do wonder for you. So let me go back my project. So while I was learning Django, I was working on a couple of projects where I wanted to develop website. So I had two domain which I was trying to develop. Number one was funding.com, FUNNDING, funding.com. Later, though I did not utilize Python or Django for funding.com, I utilize WordPress. Don't get confused, you don't have to learn WordPress right now. However, I am utilizing Django and Python both in my next weekend project, that is startup.com, STARTYP.com. I am building REST framework, and front end I am going to use in JavaScript. Let me use a couple of more jargons which I am going to utilize in my weekend project. That is, in JavaScript there are React, and there is a framework, React framework, that is Next.js. I am building front end in Next.js, which is the library for React, and Django and the Python. I think somewhere I left where you should start learning Python. If you are comfortable with English or Hindi, whichever language, both are fine. You follow YouTube channels, different channels. It's just Google and you can find out. And you complete entire series for the Python without fail. Basic and advanced you'll find. You may not be required to go encapsulation, OOPS programming, all those things you may not have to go right away. If you can complete basic programming, that will give you comfort that you can do a lot of things with the Python. And wherever you stuck, that with the output I am unable to move forward, I am very happy we can talk, because I have spent lots of time in utilizing these latest technology and what best solution can be. So let's learn together, and wherever you stuck, you can reach out to me on this channel and we can talk further on the technology in recent startups and why you should learn Python. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm very happy talking to you on the technology. Thank you so much.